We are very privileged to have some guest speakers presenting with you today. Damien Golding, Chris Wright, and yours truly, and Mark Benton. Please watch this presentation with an open mind. You will pick something out of it, even if it's the smallest thing that you can take home to your club, to your audience. It just adds to your suite of armoury or tools to make a difference to your audience, to engage people in your club's activities. Life these days is very busy, it's very demanding. People have instant choices to make as to what they do. Club run, go and see the kids sport, sit at home and enjoy their warm open fire. Might have been an option today. So the more attractive your activities are, the more you can promote your club and what it's doing, the more chance you've got people in participating in your, in essence, core business. So without much further ado, I'm going to hand over to Damien. And Damien has an extensive credential in this area of websites. And Damien is also very much experienced with motoring clubs, looking after many motoring clubs from a web and web presence point of view. Damien, the audience is yours.
Thank you. I actually don't know how to get my presentation, but Mark.
Just ask.
Have a presentation up, please, Mark.
No.
Thank you, Keith. My name is Damien. I'm from a business called Ground Station Digital Management, and we build and maintain websites for organisations and various other sort of clients. We've got a very diverse sort of group of clients. I do doctors, restaurants, concrete formwork companies, architects, all sorts.
Do you do boots?
Boots.
Concrete boots.
No, but I do the website. But somehow or other over the years, I've developed a bit of a speciality around motoring club websites. It started when one of my clients referred me to Glenda Shivers from the Vintage Drivers Club, which we tried to work out how long ago that was. It was a fair while ago. But we built a website for the VDC, and ever since we've supported that website for them. And then we got referred to the AOMC, and I had a meeting with Keith, and we built a website for the AOMC. And again, we've been supporting the AOMC ever since through retainer plans. And of course, that's sort of grown organically now. So I also do the website for the Rolls-Royce Owners Club, Chrysler Restorers Club, until recently the Bristol Owners Club, Bristol Car Owners Club, and some other things I've slipped my mind. Model 8 Ford Club, I did their website for them, and I did a national rally website for Keith once. So I've developed this sort of knowledge around how motoring clubs work, what they need, and what the websites need to do for them. And I'm hoping to share some of those insights with you today, about what I've discovered. But before I do, I should probably just give you a bit of my background so you understand why I'm qualified to talk about this. I've been working in jobs related to the websites, the internet now for over 20 years. I've pretty much been there for the whole journey. I started very early. My first role, I was the webmaster for Standard Finance. Is everyone familiar with the Standard Finance? Heard of the car loans, leases, that sort of stuff? So I was their first webmaster back when that name was cool. It wasn't very cool for very long. And so I built the website and I managed their website for them for a number of years. And then I started doing other projects. I was a member of the team that delivered the first online car loan for ANZ.com. And I built another website, well, I was part of the team that built another website called eAuto, which was like a car sales sort of setup, which is no longer around because it wasn't profitable enough apparently. And then I left ANZ and I became the manager of the Yellow Pages website, which was a lot of fun. Yellow Pages was one of the top 10 websites in Australia for a number of years. Millions and millions of visitors every month. And but as probably everyone knows here, Yellow Pages has slowly died, being replaced by search engines. People have websites and search engines that completely sort of making the Yellow Pages directories redundant. And we knew this, and we were researching this, and we were sort of powerless to stop it, I guess. Eventually, when Telstra sold that directories business to an American investor, I decided to go and set up my own organisation, my own business, helping people sort of navigate through this new world, how to build effective websites and be found, and you know, make it a go of this new online world. So talking about effective websites, Is that going to work for me?
Would do it.
Is it turned on?
Yes.
Maybe I could use the teaser button instead. No? It's going to be a short presentation. This is all I've got. Oh, here we go. It's gone twice. So during COVID lockdown, I watched a number of movies. Probably everyone did. And I saw this one, Field of Dreams. Has anyone seen Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner? Sort of 1989. That's how old it is. Oh my God, I'm not doing anything. There we go. Field of Dreams is about this farmer who's walking through his fields, and he hears these spooky voices saying, "If you build it, they will come." And so he ends up sort of clearing one of his fields and building a baseball diamond, and then out of the cornfields come the ghosts of all his famous baseballs, and he plays the other baseball. And hopefully I haven't spoiled that for anybody who would want to watch that movie. But I was watching this movie, and it struck me, this is how most people think websites work. They think they'll build a website, some magic will happen, and everyone will become rich.
Don't worry about that. It's still being recorded properly.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on.
This is wrong. This is completely wrong. In fact, it's very common for me to be talking to somebody, a business owner, who spent upwards 10 grand, maybe more, on a new website, and 6 months later, nothing's happened. They're not getting any inquiries. They don't even know how to change the website. They've probably forgotten the password. And the person who built the website is absconded, right? Unfortunately, this is a bit of a reputation my industry has. You know, they take the money and run, and then you're left, you know, sort of on your own. I'm not like that, by the way. I tend to hang around. I prefer so long-term partnerships with my clients. It's kind of like a bit of a differentiator at Ground Station. But the reality is that when you have a website, that's the start of a process, not an end of the process. It's not set and forget. Websites are definitely not set and forget items. You can't just, they're not a billboard. You've got to sort of manage them and nurture them. And you've got to understand how your website works inside that online ecosystem. And for the majority of people today, the majority of people, the front door to the internet for them is a thing called Google. There's Google on the front door. Google has a 94% share of search engines in Australia. It's a monopoly. It has been for years. There's no one second. Google is the only game in town. And it's like the majority of people will sort of start with a Google search if they're looking for something online. And that makes them extremely important, and their results page extremely valuable real estate. So here is a search I did recently for this presentation. When you do a Google search, you know, it's a long page. So that's the top of the page is on the left and the bottom of the page is on the right. A couple of things I want to point out about this. You can see on the bottom of the right, you've got the Google thing, the old pages. Let me tell you right now, nobody goes to page 2. Nobody goes to page 2. If you're on page 2, you might as well be on page 99 with the amount of visibility you're going to get. If you want to get traffic from Google, you need to be on the first page of results, which is like the top 10. And Google knows this. Google knows how valuable their real estate is. And what they've done here, when I did a search for car restoration, this thing here is not websites. This is Google's own thing. This is they don't promote it very well. It's called Google My Business. Probably worth writing down, actually. You go to Google My Business, and that allows you to put one of your listing in this directory. And this directory is primarily that location. So you can probably work out where boxes from this map. But I did a search for car restoration. I got these listings and these map bins. And these are not websites. This is Google My Business. And they rank them primarily by distance from where you search from. So it's a location-based thing, but secondarily by things like the amount of reviews you got. It's not that easy. There's a whole can of worms that I'm not going to get into. Because what I'm talking about is, if you do a search for car restoration, the first result there is finished restorations. They're making traffic off this search. I can tell you right now, they're getting a ton of traffic. They're getting the majority of the traffic from this page, and the second is a little bit less. Third is a little bit less than that. Well, actually, quite a bit less. It's quite a steep drop off. Until you get to the bottom page, which I think is called a Jag or something, they'll be getting a triple of traffic, being the last one on the first page. You know, back when I started doing this, you get a little bit of traffic from being the top of the second page, not anymore. You barely get anything being the last result, being number 10. And so this is an extremely important thing to do if you're a website to get traffic. And there's a whole industry that's emerged to get you onto this page. It's called SEO, Search Engine Optimization. Have you heard of it? SEO? It's pretty much the Wild West out there with SEO. There's some absolutely brilliant operators. There's some people who are definitely good at this and will get you results. But then there's scores of shonky operators who promise you the world, promise you to get to the top of the Google page, take your money and run. Again, this poor industry reputation we have. Actually, there's a really good way to tell a shonky SEO operation from a good one. Is that if you get a call or an email about someone talking about SEO, that's a shonky one. The good ones don't need to market themselves, get cold call people. Definitely not. The good ones are known by reputation. Like people like Hawkesview, you probably don't know the reputations, but inside the industry, the reputations are huge, you know, about who does well in this space. And actually, another good way to tell is actually do a search for SEO Melbourne, see who comes up in the good search results. Whoever's in that list knows what they're doing. You know, that's another way. But if anyone approaches you or emails you saying, hey, I've got help you with that SEO, that's a scam, 100% scam. Because the reality is, Google has not and never will tell anybody how their search works. It's a secret. I think I understand it's only about a handful of people inside Google itself who understand the whole thing in the end. It's a huge corporate secret, and they're not going to tell anybody, so no one knows how this works, really. And the second thing is Google doesn't like you messing around with it. They don't like you gaming the system. And they have teams internally who are looking for websites that are trying to game the system. Like I had a client who had employed an SEO agency and initially had huge success, they got heaps of traffic, and then suddenly it all just came to a screeching halt. It's because Google banned them. Because what they've done, this is back in the day when, actually this is still the case slightly, there's a thing called backlinks where you have other websites that link to yours. So the more other websites link to yours, it's like a vote of confidence almost. And so Google values that. And so what this guy had done is gone and set up thousands of backlinks from shady Russian websites. It worked initially.
But conspiracy theory.
Well, yeah. Anything ended at .ru, the domain is .ru, dodgy. What happened there was, of course, this caught on, everyone started doing it, Google got wise and went through and found everybody doing this and said, delete, and they disappeared. Not only were they not on the first page anymore, they weren't anywhere. And so to fix that, you've got to go on, you know, remove all those links and then reapply, and it took 24 months to get it sorted. But that's another more story. The other thing is, Google don't like their search results changing very much. They pride themselves on being relevant, and they don't want, you know, this first page results changing or any of the results changing too much. And so they deliberately slow walk stuff. So if you go and do some work on your website to make it appear in the first, you know, to try and make it appear on the first page results, it could take months, 6 months, 3 to 6 months for it to make a difference. And that's just because Google just slow walks it. They don't want rapid change. Actually, saying that, I'm going to contradict myself here. Once a year, maybe once a year, they do a thing called a Google Core update. And a Google Core update is where Google changes updates their version of the search engine. They change the software. All hell breaks loose. Everything goes haywire. About 2 weeks. Usually, you know, actually they do it in various months of the year. But when it happens, oh my God, white knuckles. Everybody gets white knuckles. And then it sort of settles down again. And then if you've paid all your money first and you're not first anymore, you got to start again. So for these reasons, I don't promote myself as a search engine specialist. Not overtly. I don't want to be sort of associated with that. I don't want to be, you know, somebody seen trying to buck the system. But saying that, I have an exceptionally good record of getting my clients on the first page of Google. And my secret is I have read the manual. There's a thing called Google Search Essentials, and it actually goes into great detail about what Google wants to see you do as a website owner. Google wants to know how the search works, but they're more than happy to tell you how you need to build your website to meet their criteria. And you can all go and have a look. This started off being a very technical document, very sort of, you know, nerdy sort of coding stuff, but now it's much more accessible. It's much more written in layman's terms. If you want to see how you get your website ranking in Google, I definitely recommend going and reading this as a starting point. Certainly I have. But I'll give you the summary right now, the executive summary. First thing Google says is make sure your content is accurate and helpful. Okay, that's a bit of a motherhood statement, but it has sort of some technical what's the word? Implications. don't copy somebody else's content and put it on your website. Google picks up on that straight away. They know duplication when it happens, and they'll punish you for it. So no copying and pasting. The second thing Google like is well-structured content, especially around headings for some reason. You know, your heading, Google likes to see you have one main heading on each page. They call that an H1 tag, H1, a big heading. And then you have as many subheadings as you like, which are H2 tags. And underneath H2 tags, you can have H3 tags, like subheadings. As long as you have that in a sensible hierarchy, Google finds it easy to understand your content and easier to rank it. And so, but if you have like all H1 headings or all H2 or different mixtures, you're not going to do so well. The other thing is Google like a well-coded website with no shortcuts. So there's a lot of shortcuts you can take on your website, but Google likes properly coded websites, which is more my deal than yours, I guess. But you know, there's all these things about, you know, if you have an image on your website, to make sure it's got like a text description in the background, like it's part of the HTML. You can do that with alt tags to help blind people read websites. But Google likes it if you complete all that stuff. Dot your I's and cross your T's. Google also likes fast websites, doesn't like slow ones, which is like, so you load up big images, you're killing yourself. Don't put like megabytes worth of images on your page, make sure they're really small. As small as you can get them and still be like quality images. And Google also likes your website to work properly on mobile phones. Actually, here's something you probably don't know. Not many people know this. When Google actually looks at your website and rates it, it's not looking at your desktop website. It looks at the mobile version 100% of the time. So these search results I showed you before were based on mobile websites, because that's all Google looks at. They call it mobile first. So you need to make sure your website's working on mobile. The last thing is Google doesn't like you playing games. They don't like you trying to trick them. In fact, you can see there it says spam policies. They're in the middle bullet point there. You look at that page, that's just a list of all these times people have tried to trick Google and how they've, you know, been identified and banned. So that's why sometimes going that very aggressive SEO route is dangerous, because you can end up getting nothing. So if you do this and you get your website right, good things just start happening, especially with Google. If you do things that Google wants you to do them, suddenly you start getting benefit. And I'll give you a couple of examples. With the AOMC, I do the AOMC website and their sort of SEO strategy. We're really targeting this search, car shows this weekend. That search happens a lot, especially in summer. It tends to peak at about March. It's a very seasonal thing. March suits me car show time. I don't know why. And I've coded up the website to really target that search, car shows this weekend. If you look, I apologise, I've sort of cut most of it off, but you can see down the bottom there, the first result actually is AOMC. And then again, Google's done this land grab. They've taken on this valuable territory and put their own stuff on it, which actually is a event calendar. And you'll notice that the first thing there is actually an AOMC event that's on the website. They've taken it from the websites, because when we put events on the AOMC website, we code them up exactly how Google likes to see them. So Google says, thank you very much. I'll grab that and I'll put it in my directory. So I said March was the busiest month. This year for AOMC, in the month of March, we received 18,000 visits to the website. And I'd say 80% of those people were not looking for AOMC. They were looking for car shows. And the first result that came back was an AOMC. And they got introduced to that. They've exposed to AOMC through that experience. So now they're aware of AOMC and say, oh, great, good people, good events. You know? It has a good effect on your reputation of your brand, being found like that. I see Glenn is here. The BDC run the Yarra Glen swap meet each year, and obviously they want to be first. So if you search for Yarra Glen swap meet, they need to be first, and they are. Actually, that's already gone. When was that? That was March. There we go. I don't know why March is such a big month. Actually, I've just noticed that last listing down there is also an AMC one, snuck in. American Breed Car Show. 2025, same day. Another one would be Chrysler. So if you search for Chrysler, you can do all these searches right now on the mobile phone. You can double check me. You do a search for Chrysler events. The first result down the bottom there, again, I'm kind of cut it off. Chrysler, that's the Chrysler Stores Club website. And all three events are actually their club meetings, because again, I guess it's because we're the only people actually doing this properly, and any other closer events aren't coding properly. Because somehow or other, if you search for closer events, you just get the closer clubs event meetings, which is a good thing. This is an interesting one, more in situ. The Bristol Letter stuff came to me with a half-finished website, and I finished it off for them. And we created this page, which is just a list of all their models, all their different Bristol models. And here's this one. And so, of course, we built it properly. And in true Google style, when we launched the website, nothing much happened. But a couple of months later, would have been more than 6 months, we suddenly saw this sort of gradual increase in traffic, and the traffic increased again. And it was because if you did a search for Bristol cars, the Bristol Owners Club of Australia, was appearing on the first page of Google, and it kept on going up, and it got to second, only after Wikipedia. And this led to a situation where this particular page, this Bristol models page, was getting more traffic than the rest of the site combined. The majority of traffic hitting this website were not members. They were just members of the public looking for Bristol cars. And it's, it wasn't just Australian traffic. Well, it was getting traffic from the US, UK especially, Germany, Netherlands, I think was in there as well. But that gives you an idea. If you get this stuff right, suddenly it starts this virtuous cycle. You start getting traffic, you start getting this recognition. Rolls-Royce Club. It's interesting, you do a search for Rolls-Royce Club, the actual Victorian branch comes up first, ahead of the national body. I don't know how they feel about that. I think it's because something's going wrong. You'll notice there's the second and third websites are actually the same homepage, the same web site, but they've got different names, different logos. There's something going on there. It's maybe why they're second, I'm not sure. Maybe I should call them. Here's another example of good things that happen, again with the Rolls-Royce Club. You do a search, these kind of random searches get you traffic, like Bentley 1900. I don't know, there's people that search happens, don't know why. But the first two images there returned by Google are from the Rolls-Royce website. It's because we've coded out those images to be relevant and how Google wants to see them. And so when someone searches for Rolls-Royce Club Bentley as well, I guess everyone knows that. But Rolls-Royce, when you do a search for Bentley, the Rolls-Royce Club images are a part of that collection that Google's promoting for you. So again, you're getting this recognition of traffic. What I am sort of talking about here, I probably spent too much time on it, to be honest, but I think it's probably one of the most important things you need to know about getting traffic in the website is getting Google right. But this is sort of part of my philosophy to website digital management. And it's about getting acquisition, getting people onto your website. It doesn't matter how nice your website is or how many features it's got. If you're not getting any traffic, well, you're not getting any value. And we think of website management in terms of a funnel, a marketing funnel. Now, this is not new, this is not innovative, this has been around for donkey's years, but it works in this context. So you need to think about how you're managing your website, these three layers. The first one is acquisition, how you're getting traffic onto your website. Now, I've spoken about SEO. I think Mark's going to talk about bulk emails, which is another good way of getting traffic on your website. I think Chris is going to talk about social media, another way of getting traffic on your website. Actually, you can always tell social media traffic and email traffic when you stats because it's spiky. One day you'll suddenly get this huge spike in traffic, and it's usually because an email's gone out with a link back to the website, or you've done a really good social media post and you've driven traffic. SEO traffic tends to not be spiky, it tends to be more gradual. So that's the first thing you need to manage, is that getting people eyes on your website. The next thing is the experience you're delivering. And this is a whole science to itself about user experience. But I'm going to talk about it in more detail in reference to motoring organisations at the end. But it's about, are you giving them the right things? Can they find it? Does your navigation make sense? There's all the things that you need. And there's a whole little laundry list I'll give you about that. The last thing is called conversion. That's the bottom bit there. That's where the money is. That's where how you get people to do things you want them to do. For most of my clients, that's about business leads, about getting business leads. But in terms of the motoring organisations, that's about event registrations, newsletter downloads, member renewals, all that sort of stuff. And that's, again, a separate sort of thing. For example, I was talking to Mark recently, about the newsletter page. We had this newsletter page that was getting a lot of views, but a surprisingly low amount of downloads. The PDF download wasn't sort of happening to the extent we expected it to. And we looked at the page, it had sort of the cover of the newsletter on it. But it wasn't really clearly obvious that you click on the cover to download the PDF. And so we stuck a big button there. It was like a dirty great big download button, and it improved it. It improved it. That was actually recent history. So we haven't sort of completely played that out. That's an example of this, what would be the conversion. So if you get all that right, if you get those 3 layers right, a well-managed website can have a huge positive impact on your club. I've spoken about the reputation and the visibility stuff. Having that visibility and a well-designed website instills confidence in not only members, but potentially new members who are looking for you. And sponsors love it. You know, if you can show sponsors you're getting all this visibility, they'd love the exposure. You can get more sponsors by having that, you know, being able to say this is how many visitors we get each month. I've included an extra one there. It's kind of off topic, but I think it's important. Using your domain for your club emails. The days are gone when you can go out and email your club membership using BigPond or Hotmail, you know, email addresses. It's just, it's all the scammers that are going on. You need to have that sort of reputation. And I believe Mark's going to talk about in his presentation, but I highly recommend using your domain, emails attached to your domain when communicating, because it looks more professional and it's actually safer and it's more likely to be read. The second thing is you create a centralized repository for information. Okay, everybody's got on a level playing field there. Everyone has access to the same information, whether it be club rules, club permit information, event diaries, everything. Suddenly everybody is clear, you know, and you kind of get that with a newsletter, but with a website, it's much more current. You know, it's daily, changes daily sometimes, and it's kind of a way for members to engage with your club outside of a scenario like this, like a meeting or an event. You know, people are engaging with your club, you know, throughout the month, throughout the year. And probably the biggest benefit, probably for everyone here, maybe I'm making assumptions, but it makes your long-suffering committee members' lives easier. Okay, having a good website sort of takes some of the workload off your committee members. By having sort of respond to all these inquiries or having it available on the website. And managing memberships is tedious if you're doing it on a spreadsheet. So the more you can automate it, you know, the less workload you're placing on your committee, and, you know, probably the easier it is for them to run the club. So let's talk about the laundry list of things. So in my experience, these are the essential online features for your motoring club website. Obviously online newsletters and magazines. People love going and looking up old magazines. It's a rather surprising thing that we've got, because a lot of my motoring club websites have a lot of newsletters going back a number of years. And I kind of expect going to the current one to get the traffic, but there's always people going back. There's always sort of some few people going back trying to find something from earlier. It's quite amazing how the old archived editions are valuable. Event calendars, of course, speak for themselves. You get the event calendar right. It doesn't just exist on your website. It will actually be publicised elsewhere if you want it to be. That's not true for the Rolls-Royce Club. Most of the Rolls-Royce Clubs is behind a password protected sort of situation. Same true for VDC, same true for Chrysler. Actually, I think AOMC is the only one that doesn't actually have a member login sort of private area. But you can choose whether you want your stuff to be made available to the general public or just your membership.
Is the presentation going to be available? Yes. So I'm just wondering whether to take photos.
No, absolutely. AGM minutes and notices, having those distributed online is like a legal thing now too. I think you have to do it before it's the AGM happens. I'll read this one. I can read this one clearly, not that one. Club rules is a good one. Technical libraries. Having, you know, all the information or sort of, you know, information you can't necessarily find anywhere else about manuals, about old models and so forth. The club permit scheme seems to be a very common page I build about club permits information. In terms of, so that's sort of that centralized information thing. That member engagement, having event registration, so you can register online is a good one. I did that for the Jaguar National Rally a couple of years back. The number one website, number one page on the BDC website is their buy, swap and sell page with all the classifieds on it. It's every month. It's the most popular page after the homepage. Sorry?
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with us. So my biggest number of views is the sale page.
What website's that?
The Rhino.
Rolling, yeah. That's like a top tier deliverable is having that classifieds thing. And everyone loves to see their cars all shiny in galleries. That's a very self-interested thing, I guess, but everyone loves to go through all the concourse photography and having those galleries available and being able to track it through the years is another good thing. Remember only areas I've spoken about. Online surveys, you can go out and survey your membership much more easily you can with websites than any other format because it self-tabulates into a spreadsheet for you. And in terms of the benefits for the community, having that member self-service, gathering information, letting members put their own information in is often more accurate than you trying to collect in other ways. Getting new member inquiries off the website is often a very low friction way of doing it. You often get people who are prepared to put an inquiry into our website other than call somebody. Getting your renewals done, and of course the exposure of sponsors is also a thing you need to, if you do get some decent traffic to your website, it's one of the things you do need to sort of promote yourself as having that usage. So you can go to sponsors and say, hey, 1,000 people a month look at our website and you can get that exposure. And I realise I've gone over time slightly there, Mark. I tried to get it half an hour. But there you go. That was the main things I wanted to communicate today about websites. And I'm happy to take questions now if you've got any. Otherwise, feel free to give me a call on that number. Of course, this presentation will be available. And all that website, groundstation.com.au is me. Or you can search on Groundstation because we're number one. We can do that search.
Okay. Give Damien a big round of applause, please. Any questions for Damien? I'm going to go start at the front and move back.
Damien, this may or may not be a question for you.
Yeah.
You may or may not
have an opinion.
Comfortable answering it. You talk about members liking to see their cars on Facebook, on the sites,
yes,
which for many people is true.
Yes.
There's always the odd one that will crack the sads that somebody's put a picture of their car on some sort of website or social media page.
Yeah, yes.
And particularly, my rego plate. For some reason, people are very sensitive about their rego plate being seen by other people. What's your opinion on putting photos on with or without permission, or covering number plates, not covering number plates?
Yeah, it's almost like you need a model release for your cars these days, right? I think obscuring number plates is generally a good idea if you're concerned about it, and I think it's actually pretty easy to do as part of that process. Just blurring out the number plates if you like. I haven't experienced it personally as a big issue, but I'm sure you're right. There's people who are very sensitive to that. I guess you deal with it on a case-by-case basis. You can have a policy. You can actually have your membership saying that you agree to take photos of your car as part of your terms and conditions in your club. Maybe that's probably the right place to do it to cover yourselves. Actually sort of responding to those inquiries is important and doing it. And I think if I got a call saying, hey, take this photo down, I'd get it down in a minute or two if I look on my website.
Andrew Henshaw from Australia. In talking about the Google search results,
yeah,
we usually see that the first few hits are sponsored content.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? Can you cover it briefly for us, please?
Sure. So, of all those things I said about how Google operates with their search algorithms, they are, when you're paying them money to appear in sponsored links, you can get up straight away, depending on how much you're prepared to spend. It's called Google Ads. And Google Ads is their advertising system, which you can set the sponsored links you're talking about is delivered through Google Ads. And there's no minimum spend on that. You can spend $1 a day on that if you wanted to. You're not going to get, you get charged when someone clicks on your link. All right. So you're not paying money just to be there. You only get charged if someone you only get charged for traffic, which is a good thing. So it's more affordable than you think to do sponsored links. But then again, if Sorry?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've run into that where, yes, it's affordable now, but if a few people get into the space, then they come back to you and then it's like
Yeah,
they've got a rolling arms race.
arms race is exactly what it is because no one likes to be second and they're paying for it. And so if you are competing against somebody else with that search, then you'll pay a certain amount of money for that link, and then someone else will pay a little bit more and go above, and then you'll pay a little bit more. It's like that's what Google loves that, of course. But it's not all about that.
But they're happy to come back and tell you as well that if you're up it, you'll get it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. That's an entire other talk. Actually, this is a whole body of information I could look at that at length as well. I may have to come back and talk about that.
Damien, I have a question. You spoke about Google search. You didn't talk about Bing.
Yes, because they're irrelevant. Yeah, no, well, everyone talks about Bing. And once again, I'll reinforce that Google's not worried about Bing. I'll get you in a second.
What is Bing?
Oh, Bing is the Microsoft search engine. So
There's your answer.
you're an Apple man?
No, the fact that what is Bing is.
So I have toyed with optimizing with Bing, and you can spend money on it and do a good job, but it doesn't give you any results because their market share. Google has a 94% market share of search. So you can invest in Bing's optimization, but I don't think it's going to get you the value right now. I don't justify the situation. I don't agree to the situation, but it's a reality that Google's got this massive share. And they haven't got really a competitor. Their competitor right now is somebody doing to them what they did to the Yellow Pages. All right. So Google made Yellow Pages, redundant, and I saw it up close. And now Google is worried about another technology coming along and replacing them, which is going to be AI, probably.
So when you open up Chrome and the Bing search engine comes up,
Yeah.
and the first thing you do is type in www.google,
Yeah.
does that really piss them off?
Well, Chrome is a Google product, so it wouldn't have. So your Chrome is made
Or
by Google.
whatever the
But
one
so,
is.
yeah. So you're talking about Edge or something, Microsoft Edge.
That'll be the one.
I suppose that this is the one. The fact is, Google have it right.
Because that's the first thing I do, like get a big straight into Google.
Yeah. I think your user share. So yeah.
Damien, great presentation, thank you so much. Just a really quick question, topical from what happened last night with all of the security from
Yes.
Bing. How do you actually protect your own website? What kind of things do you need to actually do to think about to protect it and protect your website?
Right. Well, okay. So what we're talking about here is HTTPS. Sometimes you put a website in, it's got HTTP or HTTPS. That S stands for secure. And so for every website you do, you need to have what they call a secure socket layer. I'm going to get very technical here, I'm sorry. But there's like you can encrypt your website end to end so that nobody can see what's happening between the end user and the web server. And it's called secure socket layer. And it's mandatory these days. You really can't do without it. In fact, I think Chrome will give you a warning if you're going to a website that doesn't have HTTPS. So in terms of that security, you definitely have to go use that encryption process, which is not any slower. It doesn't make websites slower, but it makes anybody trying to eavesdrop on you impossible because it's all encoded between the browser and the web server. And the other thing in terms of that is I have stopped doing sort of hand-coded websites. I use other people's services to build websites these days, which means you kind of inherit their security. So you get corporate level security. And so I'm talking about products like Wix, Squarespace, these sort of things. I actually really like Squarespace, by the way, if anyone's interested. I used to be all WordPress, and I've now moved my entire client base onto Squarespace because it's such a great platform and it's extremely secure. That's it. Is that okay? Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, if there's no further questions, can I again say thank you, Damien? Appreciate your time.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.